All right, let's talk about something fascinating. There's this tool that some of the world's sharpest traders swear by, a tool they believe gives them a little peek into the market's next big move. It's called RSI, and honestly, it's got this reputation for being, well, almost magical. So let's dig in and see what all the fuss is about. I mean, listen to this quote from an absolute master of the craft, Andrew Cardwell. He's basically saying that in 30 years, nothing even comes close to what RSI can do. That's a huge claim. It's no wonder this indicator has this legendary status. But really, what gives it this almost magical reputation? So yeah, that's the big question, right? What is this thing? We're going to break down how it works, what makes it so special, and we're even going to uncover this little mathematical secret that lets it spot things that other indicators just completely miss. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is this so-called magical predictor that gets traders so excited? It's called the Relative Strength Index, or RSI for short. Now, the key thing to get here is that it's a leading indicator. You see, most indicators are lagging, like a moving average. They just tell you what the price has already done. But RSI, it's designed to try and anticipate what's coming next. It's all about measuring momentum, the speed and the force behind price changes. To really get its predictive power, we've got to know how to read the chart first. So let's break it down. It's actually pretty simple. Okay, so when you look at a chart, the RSI is that simple line you see down below the main price action. It just bounces around between 0 and 100. And there are really only 3 zones you need to know. Anything up above that 70 line is considered overbought, basically a hint that a stock might be getting a little too pricey. Down below 30 is oversold, which could mean it's a bargain. And that line right in the middle, at 50, that's kind of the halfway point for market momentum. Now, the most basic way to use this is super straightforward. When that RSI line dips below 30 and then pops back up, that could be a buy signal. And on the flip side, when it climbs above 70 and then drops back down, that's a potential sell signal. Simple enough, right? But the real magic, the part that messes with people's heads, is what happens next. And this is where we get to the absolute heart of what makes RSI so unique. It's this incredible phenomenon called divergence. Here's the puzzle. Sometimes the price of a stock is telling you one story, but the RSI, the indicator measuring the strength behind that price, is telling you a completely different one. They diverge. And that disagreement, that's where the clues about the future are hiding. Check this out. This is the puzzle in action. On the left, you can see the price is hitting new peaks, right? It's climbing higher and higher, looks super strong. But then you look at the RSI on the right during that exact same time, and its peaks are getting lower. The underlying strength is actually fading away, even as the price is going up. How does that happen? And that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems totally impossible. How can strength be going down while the price is going up? It feels like a total paradox, but the answer is actually baked right into the indicator's DNA. All right, time to pull back the curtain and reveal the secret. It all boils down to a really clever quirk in how it's calculated. The secret is this thing called an anti-trend bias. What that means in simple terms is that the RSI's formula is designed to be extra sensitive to price moves that go against the main trend. So if a stock is in a monster uptrend, the RSI is basically on high alert for any down moves, no matter how tiny they are. Here's how it works. Let's say a stock has been rocketing up for days. Then boom, it has just one little down day. Because that small dip goes against that really strong uptrend, the RSI's math kind of overreacts. It sees that tiny loss as a big deal, and the RSI line drops hard. So even if the price bounces back and hits a new high the very next day, the RSI might not get back to its old peak. And just like that, you've got your divergence. Exactly like the source material says, the RSI's reaction is, well, it's disproportionate. A tiny move against the trend slams the RSI way harder than a big move with the trend. And that right there is the entire secret mechanism behind that powerful divergence signal. So you really want to think of divergence as a warning light on your dashboard. It's the market kind of whispering to you that, hey, even though the price is still inching up, the momentum, the oomph behind that rise, is starting to fizzle out. It's like a car that's still rolling forward, but you can hear the engine starting to sputter. Okay, now before we all run off and think we've found the Holy Grail, it's really important to understand that the RSI is not a perfect system. There are some hidden challenges you have to be aware of. Because as powerful as this tool is for gauging momentum, it is absolutely not a crystal ball. And if you treat it like one, well, that can lead to some pretty painful lessons. For one, the time frame you're looking at makes a huge difference. A signal on a daily chart might just disappear on a weekly one. And get this, different websites and software can actually show you slightly different RSI values for the exact same stock. Kind of weird, right? Also, strategies are not one size fits all. What works great in the stock market might totally fail in something like crypto or Forex. And finally, yeah, the terminology around it all can get super confusing and cluttered. So, with all that complexity, what is the one single most important thing to remember about what the RSI is really doing? It all boils down to one word: momentum. That's it. The RSI isn't trying to predict price, it's measuring the rate of change of the price. Think of it like a speedometer for the market. And it's that intense focus on momentum that gives it its predictive edge. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If we can never truly predict the future, is knowing the momentum, the speed, and the conviction behind a price move the closest we can possibly get? The RSI seems to suggest it just might be.